Okay, so there was recently like a fan casting for the Rapunzel live action. A live action hasn't actually been confirmed. It's just people have been fan casting since Disney makes a live action out of everything. And they fan casted a South Asian actress called Avantika, and it kind of sparked a discussion if it would even be okay to cast a South Asian woman to play Rapunzel, given that she's supposed to be a blonde German woman. And as a South Asian woman myself, I just have some thoughts regarding that topic. I'm not Indian like Avantika, but I am Pakistani, so it's a really similar culture, and we are both Desi. So like, I'm not a spokesperson for like the entire South Asian community or even the ones most affected, which are Indians. But I do still want to share my opinions as a South Asian woman. Okay, so first of all, this was only a fan cast. We don't know if there will actually be a live action, so I do not think that it's fair at all to send Avantika any sort of hate because she really didn't do anything. It's not even like she's actually going to play Rapunzel. But for like this discussion about whether or not she should play Rapunzel, because now there's like different opinions. People are saying a South Asian actress can play it. There's people saying she should be played by a white actress, and in my opinion, um, I would say it's wrong to cast a South Asian actress to play Rapunzel. I do think that she should be played by a woman who actually looks like her. Like, she's supposed to be blonde. That's like a really big part of her character. And dyeing the hair of a South Asian woman blonde isn't going to work because she still wouldn't look like the character. People just want a person that looks like the character to portray her in the live action. It has nothing to do with racism or anything like that. It's just when you would look at that character, it would not look like the princess, and you wouldn't see her as the princess she's supposed to portray because she doesn't look like her. That's it. And yeah, as a South Asian woman myself, I would like someone who looks like Rapunzel to play her. And also, just from a representation standpoint, I would say that it's a really insulting way to represent us South Asians because it's not like our culture is actually being represented like we are being represented as our own individuals. They're just like taking a white princess and then replacing her with a South Asian one. That's not really representation because you're not representing South Asian people. You're dressing up white people as South Asian, you know? That's not real representation. I would rather have an original story like an animated Disney princess movie based on South Asian culture, which is there to like a South Asian princess in a 2D, preferably. Well, that's unrealistic, but a Disney movie, like an animated one, which has a South Asian princess, and the story is based on South Asian culture and actually represents it and has something to do with it, rather than having now a live action for Rapunzel there to supposedly quote unquote represent South Asians, because that's just not really representation, and it's a very insulting way to represent us because we're just getting like leftover pieces as um something that is supposed to represent us when it does not represent us in the slightest. It's like we have our own stories which should be told. We shouldn't just depend on these white stories to get representation in media. We want our individual media, like as salvation, as at least that's my opinion. I mean, obviously not everyone thinks the same. Again, I'm not a spokesperson for everyone, but just me personally, I would say I would want, if a Disney movie is going to represent me, it should be something that's actually about my culture and not something that's about a German woman and now she's suddenly South Asian. And yeah, so now back to the part about like whether or not, because there are now people with racist accusations, obviously, that if you don't want Avantika to play Rapunzel, you're racist because the other women you're using as a fan, because they're not German either, they're not all naturally blonde. But the thing is, they still look like the character, and that's what it's about. It's like they look like a character. Obviously, South Asian people can now be German, but I feel like in the time that Rapunzel is supposed to play in, it would not be realistic for a brown woman to be a princess in Germany. It's just not very likely going to happen. So obviously, she should be played by, a person that looks like the character. That's really the main point. And yeah, she's not, maybe the fan cast isn't German, but at least they have the right looks. So it's like still not going against representing German culture. And yeah, it's just people just want a character that looks like an actress that looks like the character. That's not something that's racist in any way, shape, or form. And again, it's also not representing us if you just take a white person's story and then like dress them up as a South Asian person. You're not representing South Asian people by dressing up white people as South Asian. That's not representation. We deserve much better. We deserve to have our own individual stories, which are based on our cultures, and actually have Disney put in as much creative work as they put in for other cultures, rather than just already existing movies. Suddenly now it's for South Asians. That's at least my opinion. If any other South Asians watching it, or anyone really, feel free to share your personal opinions in the comments. This is just my opinion, and I would like to hear what other people have to say. Goodbye.